to Off the Clock, and it is time to get away. Today we're heading out to the Catalina Trail. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, joining us today, travel journalist Justin Walter. Justin, we love having you. I saw these photos and I thought, oh, we've got to get him on the show. We know the Catalina Trail is on Catalina Island, but what else can you tell us about it?
Yeah, the Catalina Trail is about a 40-mile trail through Catalina Island. It takes hikers through the interior, along the coastline. It is an adventure that is beautiful. It's rugged mountains, it's dramatic coast, pristine beaches, and amazing camping.
Justin, I'm going to jump in here because I'm totally into this with my two boys, and I'm sure my wife Lisa would do it as well. So is this the type of thing where you actually get a backpack, you sleep overnight and things like that on the trail?
Yes. So the way to do it is through hiking and camping. You can choose to bring your own gear by having all your camping gear, your food, your water, all of your supplies. So that's one way to do it. If you want to do it where it's a little less intensive, you can hire a company called Catalina Backcountry. Now, it is a small business where it's owned by a daughter and her mother-in-law, and they offer two services that are really great. They can either do gear haul service, where they take your gear and bring it campsite to campsite, or they can do it where they actually set up your camp. So when you arrive, as you see there, your campsite is set up, you have firewood ready to go, your food is there, there's a picnic table. Kinga Phillips and I, who I hiked with, we did this thing. It was so luxurious to show up after a day of hiking to a campsite already set up. So I highly recommend checking out Catalina Backcountry to make the hiking a lot easier.
I'm doing it.
You can also have it where, let's say you want grandma and grandpa to go, they can transport grandma and grandpa to the different campsites so they don't have to hike if you want them as a part of the journey.
Wow. That is so cool.
Awesome.
We're getting a little off script now, but in terms of price range for something like this, is this on the pricier side, affordable?
Yeah, so it depends. If you want to do the gear haul services, it depends on which campsites you go to and how far you go. Starting price is around $400 for going to 3 different campsites. And if you go to more, then the price goes up a little bit higher.
Is that per person or per?
No, for the group.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then I know, like Megan said, we're so fascinated by this. Okay, is the trail linear? Like you just go from point to point, and then how do you get back to somewhere else, or how does that work?
Yeah, so typically you'd want to start either in Avalon or Two Harbors. If you start in Two Harbors, there's a little loop, Parsons Landing, above Two Harbors. If you start in Avalon, then you go north to Two Harbors. So you kind of pick 2 different routes to go. I recommend starting in Avalon and hiking towards Two Harbors. Then you can decide if you want to do that extra loop at the top, or if you want to just do from Avalon to Two Harbors.
Now, you and Kinga are in extremely great shape. I know this. Is this something that you have to be in decent shape for, or in terms of levels, where are we talking?
I would say levels-wise, it's not the most intensive in terms of hiking I've done. I think for the most part, there are some steep inclines and declines, but for the most part, it's not the most intensive hiking I've ever done. And I would say that people who are in decent shape and even out of shape a little bit can still do it.
How long between each point? So when you say you're walking, I know obviously you can take your time because you want to look at the scenery and stuff like that, but are you usually, walking maybe a couple hours to get to the next destination?
Yeah, so our first day, we went from Avalon to Blackjack campsite, and that was about, I would say, an 8-mile hike. Then the next day, we went about a 10-mile hike. Then our third day from Little Harbor to Two Harbors, which is the best day on the Catalina Island Trail, the Catalina Trail. It was about only about 5 miles or so. My mileage might be a little off, but in terms of hiking, it's a couple hours a day and you can go at your own pace. And if you look at these stunning views, you're going to want to take your time to enjoy the views. Like I said, day 3 from Little Harbors to Two Harbors is one of the best days of hiking I've ever had in my life. Kinga Phillips and I have hiked all around the world. We were stunned by how beautiful and gorgeous the coastline was.
Wow.
I love hearing that.
That says it all.
Henry, I guarantee you, I mean this, I guarantee you, Henry DiCarlo, today you're going to go home and tell Lisa, it's like, guess what we're doing?
Yeah, the only thing I'm kind of thinking is just, weather-wise, this is something maybe planned maybe for spring, when it starts to warm up a little bit.
I definitely recommend going in the shoulder season where you either do spring or fall. That is when you're going to get about 60 degrees for the weather when it comes to hiking, and that's the perfect temperature. And I would say that avoid going in the summer where the heat is going to be really high. And one thing we haven't talked about is how to get there. You can either take the Catalina Express, which is a ferry ride, which it costs about $38 one way, so about $75 round trip, or there's another way to do it. there's a company called IEX Helicopters where you can actually take a helicopter flight from different locations throughout Los Angeles to and from Catalina. And the sights and views were amazing. They also offer a service, if you've ever seen a Bear Grylls show, something called heli hiking, where they can drop you off in a remote location on the island, and then you have to hike back to civilization or to your campsite. So there's so many different options of how you can get there, how you can come home. I recommend what Kinga and I did. We took a ferry there, and then we took a helicopter home.
That is so fantastic.
That's so cool.
Oh, I know. Just looking at this video. Okay, so before we let you go, do you have any tips for campers since you've done the whole experience, you've experienced it all? What are your biggest tips?
So you're going to want to book your campsites well in advance. So Henry, go home tonight, start booking them for early spring or whenever you want to do it. Go to Visit Catalina. The Catalina Island Company is where you book your campsites. They book up fast because, as you can see, at Two Harbors and Little Harbors, they're right on the water. They're on remote beaches. So they are campsites that are stunning, and they book up fast.
So it's limited in terms of how many people they can have at one time.
Yes.
Okay.
Limited camping, so you want to definitely book well in advance so you make sure to secure those campsites.
Will the, forgive me, the people that, the service that sets up the camps, can they book it for you, or do you have to book it and inform them?
You book the campsites, and then you tell them which campsites you booked. So that is one thing you definitely want to make sure that you're not leaving it to, oh, we'll book this camp service, and then they'll book the site. You have to book the sites, then you tell them which sites you book.
Justin, such a great job.
Home run.
We
Home
all
run,
are
man.
sold.
And the one thing I'd say, too, is that this is right in our backyard in Southern California. It's so awesome to do adventures that you don't have to fly halfway across the world for.
It's so true. And Justin's right. Justin has seen everything. Kinga has seen everything. So the fact that you guys are raving about this, your photos were so amazing, that says something for sure. Thank you so much, Justin. We want to tell folks you can follow Justin's travels by visiting his website. It is called aroundtheworldwithjustin.com, or you can go to Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Find him there. ATW Justin is his handle. Thank you again, Justin. We love having you.